Hi, Melinda. How are you?
Hi, Hoda.
Last time I spoke to you, we were on book tour, and I say we because I felt like I was with you on your book tour. You've had a chance to speak to like a ton of audiences, and I feel like you gain more of a perspective on where women are, what women want. What did you learn as you went through your book tour and spoke to all these different audiences?
Yeah, and thanks for showing up in Chicago. You
I
just
loved it.
brought the energy and the joy. It was so nice. Right near the end of my tour where, I'm getting a little more tired. I learned that people are craving more quiet spaces these days. Spaces where they can be in community and let their hair down, have a little bit of fun, but also talk about some of the serious things that are going on in the world or things going on in their own family lives, particularly young women who are starting their career in their 20s or in their 30s and are in that juggle of when do I have a child, if I have a child, or have a child, and they're like, how do I make this work between career and child?
I think that's, well, let's start with that one because that one I think is a really important one because there are women, and I just spoke to a whole bunch of business women yesterday, and that was one of the key points. It was the family. Does your career ride sidecar? When does your family ride sidecar? So for you, I mean, you have this incredible career, obviously, and you went to the Ursuline Academy, Duke, and on and on and on. When you were deciding about how do I make this puzzle complete, how did you make that choice?
Make the puzzle complete in terms of
Family,
my career and family.
Yeah.
Yes. And let me just say this. The other thing is I also have many friends who are my age who I knew going through industry, tech industry, who also made the choice not to have kids and are still very happy with that choice. So I think you can make whatever choice is right for you. If you're lucky enough to be able to have children, if that is your choice. For me, I always knew I wanted to be a mom. I just knew it in my bones and in my soul. And I knew I wanted to have a great career. What I hadn't figured out was how I would juggle those two. And again, let's be really clear.
Yeah.
I'm unbelievably privileged, right? Like I could hire really good people who would be home caregivers with my children, but still I carried a load of guilt. And so I talk about a bit in my book that I think we have to let go of this notion of, at least I did, perfect parenting. And I talked to a lot of young women who are in their early 30s, juggling career and children. And they say, look, it's a mess some days. Like, it's just messy. The house is messy. The kids are messy. I feel messy emotionally. But we still all have to get up and get out the door to daycare and school and work. And so just learning to accept yourself that you're doing your best job in the moment, whether you're at work or whether you're home parenting, I think part of it is an acceptance that this is hard.
Well, you know what's funny? Since I stepped back from the Today Show, I wanted like clear sailing so I would have opportunities to do these things. But a funny thing happens. So I looked at my kids' calendar, it came, and I had some speeches and things smattered around. And one of them happened to be on back to school night. And that was the night I really, really, really wanted to go. And there was no way out of it. And in fact, I spoke to another woman in business who I did an interview with. And I said, I can't believe I'm missing back to school night. She goes, why would you do that? Like, why didn't you call? Why weren't you on top of that? And I felt terrible about that. But what I realized is no matter how you prioritize, you're missing.
Yes.
And I talked to my kids and I said, look, I love you. I filled out, you write a letter to you. I did all the things. But there was a part of me that it gnawed on me because I thought this was why I went here, and yet I'm winding up in the same spot. And that makes it difficult.
But I think it makes it very difficult. And I think then there's, at least for me in that situation, I also missed a couple of back to school nights. There was guilt. Then if somebody else sort of piles it on top of you,
terrible.
maybe inadvertently, terrible.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is to say to ourselves, we get to make some mistakes in life and we get to learn. This is your first year of, not being on the Today Show, right? And so it's your first year of figuring out what will be your new rhythm. So of course you're not going to get it all right. And again, even in parenting, like I've gone back, my adult children are now all 23, 26, and 29. we have gone back and had conversations about times mom was stressed or too busy, or maybe she felt like she needed to fix the child because their handwriting wasn't great, right? And so we've had to go back, or we've chosen to go back and talk about those times because it's healing for them and it's healing for me.
By the way, that's profound, because the idea of just thinking about me right now having a conversation with my mom or my kids when they get older saying, remember how upset I was. How did you come to even tackle that? And did you have outside help, or did you guys just say, let's just talk about it?
In this case, I tackled it myself with my 3 adult children. But, they've all done some work on themselves in therapy. I've done some work on myself in therapy. And then I have a really good mom friend who I respect greatly. She's a psychoanalyst. She's not my psychoanalyst or therapist, but she taught me the concept of rupture and repair, which I really didn't know 5 years ago. And she said, look, every intimate relationship is going to have rupture and it's going to have repair. So you can use, my youngest was still late in high school at that time, and she said, you can use those moments as teachable moments. You may regret what you said or what you did, or that you were stressed with the child or teenager, but you're teaching them how to repair. Name it and label it. And so that's what I learned to do.
So how do you, let's pretend someone had a huge blow up with their child. There was a rupture, we all have. How do you repair? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So I had to learn with each of my 3 children that they had different ways they wanted to repair. So one of them was like, no, Mom, I'm not ready. I know you're sorry. And as a mom, I was like, will they ever, are we going to be okay, a week from now? And I had to learn for that child, they needed time to cool down themselves, just like I needed time. But then I would say, okay, come to me when you're ready. Okay. So put the control for me. I had to put the control in their hands just when I wanted to be in control.
Yeah. And then the conversation becomes, I'm sorry for that. Is that real?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I want to explain to you my side of it, but I really am working hard here not to be a defensive, but I want to hear your side too. But it starts with, I am sorry. I am sorry I hurt your feelings. It starts there. It ends there again, right? But you have to be real in those moments and say, I'm sorry I didn't see how you felt about that, or I'm sorry I came into the situation so stressed.
What came easier to you, motherhood or the business world?
Great question. You always have these insightful questions. Boy, I had a lot to learn in both.
Yeah.
I think innately I came in with some amazing parenting skills thanks to my mom. My mom is a deep conversationalist, listened to us as kids a lot, and had her moments. She got hot and we had to repair. Business took me quite a while to learn how to actually play the game, but once I understood it, then the business stuff was like kind of
easy for you.
Yeah, much easier. But that has been a learning. Like, let's be honest, that's been a 15 or 20-year journey of learning.
What was the bumpy part in business before you said, oh, now I get the key to it. Now I understand it. What were the big lessons you had to learn before it got easy?
Well, I talk about this a little bit in my book. When I was at Microsoft, so I came straight out of college and business school, went to Microsoft. And this is still, I think, quite true of the tech community from what I hear from women and young men. It's a rough and tumble, sharp elbows. It was the boys' debate club. You got to know your facts. And so I could study that, and I didn't like to have to defend every single point when I went into meeting, but I learned how to play that game. And it took me about 18 months, 2 years. But then I came to realize I did not like myself. I could be that way in work, but I would go to the grocery store, and guess what? I wasn't very nice to that cashier, right? Or I wasn't very nice to a friend who, just wanted a little compassion. And I thought, I don't like myself.
Yeah.
So then I thought, okay, I'll leave the company, which is fine. I thought I could find another job. I had the confidence in that. But I thought, before I leave, I'll fall flat on my face, but I'm going to try just being myself inside this rough and tumble world. And it turned out, when I started to be more myself, I could gather people on my teams who wanted to work in that way. And so I almost built my own mini culture inside of my team that was 1,800 people.
Let's talk. I want to talk about how you did that, because to walk into a room where people are throwing elbows and getting where they want and having a thick skin, to finally saying, like, exhale, this is me. Tell me what the first few weeks of that were like, because that had to be, first of all, weird for them too. Probably like, what happened to Melinda, you know?
Yeah. I had enough people working for me and alongside me already who knew who I was. Yeah. And I could just practice being myself with them. So it didn't happen right away, but I could practice over, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And there was just a tone shift, right? And then I literally decided to be explicit with my teams. I have your back. So when we go to those rough and tumble meetings with senior management, they are going to be tough. And I'm going to be tough on you to prepare you for those meetings, because we need to go in, we need to show what we're doing. If we want more resources on our project, we got to do that. So I will be tough on you as we prepare for those. But I'm going to give you real feedback. But when we're in the meeting, you need to know I have your back. I will never undercut you in a meeting. And so by being explicit about it, I built trust in my teams, and they could trust I was giving them clear feedback. I tried to be kind when I was doing it. And then we'd all go to the meeting extremely well prepared. And
ready for
we
it.
would come out bruised sometimes, but they knew I had their back, and that matters.
That's a key part of your management style.
Trust.
I mean, trust. How else would you describe your management style? Like, who are you as a leader?
I believe that clear is kind, and I actually keep something on my desk that says clear is kind. And so I try to be explicit in my management style with people. I actually learned to manage quite young, actually in high school.
How?
I was managing, this is going to sound funny, but I went to an all-girls Catholic school. I managed a drill team. It was 150 young women, my age and just younger than me. I had to discipline them. I had to make sure they were on time. I had to make sure we had our dance routine coordinated. They were going through puberty with boyfriend issues. We got to get on the bus with all the equipment. If you can manage 150 young women through puberty, you can do anything.
Let me ask you this. So you did it.
Yeah.
Did they like you, and did you care?
Some of them did not like me, and to this day we laugh about it because they purposely cut up because they were my friends, to see like what they could get away with. But they were proud of what we did in the end. And so I learned to manage there. I managed young men in college teams, software teams, to get things done.
Managing
very different.
Yeah, how'd you do that?
Very different. Well, they were technical teams. But again, I learned to build trust. I could see people's talents and split people up on projects and say, I'm going to do my part. This is my part. I'm going to have you do your parts, and we'll put it together. And I built trust. And then I went to business school. You manage mixed teams. So by the time I got to Microsoft, I was very used to managing.
Why did you turn down IBM, this great, awesome, well-known company, for Microsoft, which at the time was not that?
Yeah, and I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I'd gone to school in North Carolina at Duke. So going back to Texas, to Dallas, which is where I had this offer with IBM, was very attractive to me. My parents were there. My friends were there. But I went to meet with my hiring manager, and she happened to be a woman. And she said, are you ready to accept this offer? It was in the spring of my last year of business school. And I said, well, you knew I was going to interview other places. I've turned all those down. I have one more place to interview. And she said, would you mind me asking? And I said, I'm going to this little tiny company, Microsoft, in Seattle, Redmond, if you've ever heard of them. And I'm going to interview there, and then I'll come back and give you my decision. And she said, well, would you like a piece of advice? And I said, sure. Okay. And she said, well, you're a young woman. You seem quite smart to me. We'd love to have you here. But she says, I will tell you, as a woman at IBM, and pretty much any manager, you have to climb the various rungs. The career ladders are very well known here. And she said, it will take you a while to climb that rung. She says, I think if you go to a young startup like Microsoft, she said, you're clearly smart, you're clearly a good manager. She goes, I think your rise will be meteoric.
God, she did you a solid. I mean,
she did me a huge solid.
I can't believe that.
Me either. Wow.
That's about, first of all, there's nothing I love more than women helping women.
Totally.
Women saying, you know what? that'll give you your shot. Has that been part of the way you do business too?
1,000%.
Yeah, tell me about that.
1,000%. I believe that when we find the best in others, males and females, and we draw that out, you help people find their inner talents. You help them find their power. We all have it inside us. And I think teams and results are better when people know they're talented. And so I really believe in trying to lift up women and men. And I think sometimes women, I've learned, need an extra boost because the workforce is telling them they're not good, or society's telling them they're not good enough. They are good enough, or they just don't see women we still don't see women in upper echelons of society, right? And so there's no reason not to do it. And I will give them clear and kind feedback if I think they're not doing a good job. One of the other ways you asked me earlier how I manage teams is trust is really important. Everybody who works for me knows that if I have feedback for them, if I'm unhappy with their job, they will get feedback within 48 hours. They won't get it right away because I might be frustrated or even angry. I will calm myself down, but I will come back to them. And that way they can know that when their performance review comes in 6 months or a year, they're not going to get surprised.
Not a surprise.
They've had feedback along the way.
How do you know when an employee, when you've exhausted all of the options and it's time? Because someone once said something like, take time in hiring, but when there's something that's not right, make sure that happens quickly when there's a firing.
Yeah, I think I give people a very long rope. I do management by trust. So, but if somebody breaks my trust or I see something that doesn't feel right away, I've learned, especially if they're being managed by somebody else, to log it with their manager quickly. Yeah. Because that person may also be seeing signs of it, and so they need this extra data point. And so I look for patterns. And if I see a pattern that's gone on more than twice, I say, we may have to make a change here.
There's so many facets to you that I am intrigued by. How you manage and all of that stuff is so beautiful and meaningful. But I love this because in your high school graduation speech, you said if you were successful, it's because somewhere, sometime, someone gave you a life or an idea that started you in the right direction. Remember also that you are indebted to life until you help a less fortunate person, just as you were helped. When I read that, I was thinking about your service piece, the part of your life, and it just was so beautiful for me to look at that and go, ever since back then, man, ever since you were little, that's been a building block of your life.
Yeah, I went to this high school run by these very liberal Ursuline nuns, but the motto was serviam, that is to serve. And they really taught us that if we were lucky enough to be in that school, that our parents could afford it, or we got a scholarship, or we were on financial aid, we were lucky with the education we were giving, and we had talent inside of us. And so look at that and make sure you serve someone else. Like they were in service to us, those nuns, those teachers, you know. And I had some incredible female teachers. I didn't have very many male teachers in high school because it was an all-girls school. Just incredible female teachers who I could see they were giving it was their life's calling to teach, and they had a family on the side, right? Wow. And so I just knew that we all need each other. We so much act like we don't. Even I sometimes like to be Miss Independent. We need each other. Yeah. And they gave me, and my parents gave me such a grounding to go off in the world that to me, a life of meaning, even from then, was to give something back.
So service, I mean, now you clearly live this life in the philanthropic lane, but it's always been that way. I was thinking about Mother Teresa. I know you've spoken about her. Did you ever get to meet her throughout her life?
I did not. Yeah. I wished I had, but I went and worked in her home for the dying in Calcutta and in the orphanage. Oh my gosh. I went with 8 other female friends that are part of a spiritual group, and we wanted to go over to India and do some learning, and we got to volunteer for a few days.
Will you tell me what that was like?
Oof. Yeah, she's such an inspiration because, and I will tell you what it's like, she's such an inspiration because she said if she hadn't picked up that one dying person, she never would have done her work. And I love that because you start here and you may end up over here, but you start somewhere. The home for the dying was just heavy, right? I mean, these are people who know they're going to pass. At least they're in a place where their basic needs are being met. They're being fed, they're being clothed and bathed daily. But many of them, and the ones that I was assigned to, in particular this woman, young woman, she had HIV/AIDS. And so I couldn't talk with her because we spoke different languages, but I could hold her hand. We could do gestures. She eventually kept pointing up. She wanted to go up, and I'm thinking, what is this? And anyway, it turned out, I finally figured it out. She wanted to go up to the roof to see sunset. Oh, God. And so after she got fed and had her medicines, I was able to have someone help carry her up to the roof, and we sat together in 2 plastic lawn chairs and we watched the sunset. And it was like, wow, like if you can help somebody with their dying wish, that is just an enormous gift.
The other beautiful part of what you said is that you have a group of 8 women who do things like that. I mean, I was like, God, how great to be part of that group. So this group, you and your closest friends, or these dear friends of yours, what kinds of things like that do you do? And what made you start this group in the first place?
We're all from different, some are non-religious, but the rest of us were all from different denominations of religion, and we were all seeking. We all were kind of more in our late 20s and starting families and had careers, and we were all, seeking something more, seeking meaning. And so a woman named Killian No, again, she's mentioned in my book, she had moved to Seattle with her husband from DC. They changed careers, and she had been part of some spiritual groups back in DC, and she was looking for a faith community. And so she asked us, as we got to know, would we want to come together? And we did. And so instead of a women's book club, which I enjoy those too, we became a women's spiritual group. And we did do spiritual readings every couple of months. We would eventually have a speaker. We would all listen to eventually the same podcasts. And then we would come together once a month to then talk about what we were feeling and what was coming, as she would say, alive for us from the readings.
I think some people feel like, well, I can't do much. Melinda Gates or there are other people who can give a lot. I can't. My stuff doesn't really matter. I don't have enough to make any kind of a change. What do you say to that person who thinks it's too big of a thing for me to even put my toe into?
I hear that a lot from people.
Yeah.
And I say to them, you have your time, you have your smarts and your energy, and you have resources. Just pick one of them and start. Just start somewhere. And that's why we talk about Mother Teresa. She picked up one person. It's drops in the bucket, but they add up over time. So I'll give you an example. Last year around Christmas time, I went to visit a group in my own backyard in Seattle. It was a volunteer group run by 5 female professionals, and they were counseling women who were postpartum, who were going through depression. And so there was a call line. These women would call in, and there were professionals, but most of the organization were all volunteer moms. And they said, I went through postpartum depression. I know how hard it was. Yes, I have 3 children at home, but I can still give 3 hours a week to this. And they would do it from their homes. And they knew when to refer these women to services. Sometimes the women on the other end of the line just needed to be understood and said, yes, this is hard. You will get through. And I'm telling you, those volunteers, their 3 hours a week made a difference in these women's lives.
The book is called The Next Day. It's a beautiful book, and I love the title just because it's hopeful to me. It's like no matter where you are in your life, you'll wake up, there's the next day. Like
Totally.
I had one of those weekends with kids that one was sick, one was upset, everyone was fighting, people were crying. It was 2 a.m. I was like on a thin string. And then I woke up the next day and I started repeating this mantra that someone said. They said, say the words, good things keep happening to me. So I said, good things keep happening to me. And I was on my way to the gym at 5:15 and I go, Good things keep happening to me. Hope's fever broke. Good things keep happening to me. Haley slept through the night. Good things keep happening to me. There's a parking place up front. There's never that spot. Good things keep happening to me. Brian, my trainer, could come in early at 5:15 today. He gave me extra time. Good thing. And it was kind of weird how the same day, because I had the afterglow of kind of yuck, that stench of like the night before. But really, I do think some things are a choice. And I love your book because it's full of all the transitions of life, of your life and the next day. You talk a little bit about your divorce. How are you different today than you were on the first day, or the day that you knew that was over?
I'm so much more self-confident. When you get through something really, really difficult like that, and I think, I wouldn't wish divorce on any family, but sometimes it's necessary. And the process is difficult, and I certainly wasn't perfect through it, but I felt like I'd supported my kids well enough through it, because when you are taking something apart, it's not just, if you have children, even adult children, it's not just the couple, but it's, we had 3 other people too, so there are 5 of us. Our unit was being pulled apart by me. But it has given me back my confidence, to be able to speak in my true and full voice, and to say what I believe and what I think without anybody else trying to edit that, to be able to use my resources in the way that I believe they should be used in the world to fully lift up women. There's just a freedom in that. And so I have made that transition. And, there were things I still, of course, needed to go through and work through that had happened. But I know now I'm fully on the other side. And so then life becomes beautiful. But I will say, you're saying that you said there, I hadn't thought of it that way, like good things happen, what did you say?
Good things keep happening to me.
Good things keep happening. What I did learn during that time, I had read a book before that, back in about 2012, called Awakening Joy. And it talked about how do you hold deep sadness alongside deep joy? Because I didn't think they could go together. I just didn't. But it turns out if you can find things to be grateful for every single day and remember those or jot them down. So when I was going through some very difficult times in my life, from 2012 all the way to the end of the divorce, different times, I could be deeply sad some days, but I could also find 3 things I was grateful for,
That can change the whole game. I was reading the book Conversations with God, which is, I had it and then lost it and gave it away and found it again. And I popped it open to this page, and I loved it so much. It said, if you are seeking understanding, like I think a lot of people in this world are, give it. If you're seeking love, give it. If you're seeking prosperity, give it. If you're seeking whatever you're seeking, give it. And his philosophy is, you can't give away something you don't already have. So on your worst day, when you're like, nobody loves me, give away love. Oh, I do have it. I just gave it. And they tell the story of a guy who was he'd come on hard times. He had like $100 and he saw a poor family sitting on at the train station, 3 kids and a mom. And he said, do you guys want to come to my house for dinner? And they looked at him like it was Christmas morning. And he brought these little kids and this mother home, and he said all I had was rice and veggies, and I made a huge stir fry in a big bowl. It's all I had, a big pot. And I served it up, and they gobbled it up, and I gave them hot chocolate. I had packets, and I gave them half of my $150 or whatever, and they went on their way. And he said the feeling he had was something he could not duplicate, and prosperity followed him from that day forward. So it's like sometimes when I look at the state of the world or the country or whatever, and I think there's no understanding, everyone's yelling, yeah, all that is true. But when you talk about doing a little thing, I do sometimes feel like I am not a hopeless person. I feel hopeful. I think that when I watch someone buy someone else a lunch at a lunch counter, I think there's goodness. I try to focus my gaze on the goodness. I'm not ignoring everything,
the reality, but
there are, people find hope in very dark places. People find hope in prison. People find hope in, in terrible situations. They still have that glimmer. Do you, or can you, or do you see hope still sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. When I walk around in Seattle in the neighborhoods, there are literally people out tending the public trails. And if you stop and talk to them, they're the neighbors who live along the public trail. And they're just giving their time to make it a nice place for the public. In New York, just 2 days ago, I was walking somewhere and a woman had clearly had a health event right there. Just seeing the way the police officer moved in and was tending to her so gracefully, and right away 2 other people were coming and responding. I thought, I just kind of watched him tend to her and I thought, God, that is so beautiful and so thoughtful, right? And so you see it all the time. And I think some people sometimes think of these kindnesses as these small things, these small kindnesses. No, a kindness can be a very big thing. It may be a small act to you, but it may fill somebody else's heart, right? And so we all, if we can spread a little more kindness in the world or a little bit more joy in the world, you don't know where those ripples in the pond go.
You're in the helping business, obviously. You're in the healing business. You're in the taking care of people business. In this time, this political time, how do you see it? How do you see what's ahead?
I don't think any of us know how this is going to play out. This is a unique situation. There are elements we've seen before, but we've never seen this story play out in this particular way. And we also don't know, technology is coming very, very quickly, the advent of AI. So I really can't answer that. None of us know. But what I do know is I can teach inside my family. And I watch my daughter, my oldest daughter is 29, and she and her husband have 2 young girls. I see them teaching kindness. I see them teaching love. I see them being kind to other people. I think we just have to keep doing that in our communities. What are our expectations for how we behave towards one another, right? Can we call out the people who are bullying? I used to say to my kids on the playground, it's not only if somebody bullies you, if you see somebody bullying somebody else, I expect you to stand up for that person. I expect you to take some action and take that kid's back or go to a trusted adult, right? So I think when we see things in society, no matter what level they're at, we need to name them for what they are, whether it's bullying, whether it's harassment sometimes. And when we see leaders who have a good moral compass and are truly living their values in society, we need to do all we can to keep lifting those people up.
So, Melinda, this podcast is called Making Space because I like to know when you have a day that's for you, you have not one thing you have to do, not one. You wake up, your eyes are open. I know, you can't even imagine this day. So how would you spend the day from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you close them and go to sleep? What time would you wake up and how would that day unfold?
Ideally, I'd wake up at 7 a.m., totally refreshed, good night of sleep. Go outside and sit in a chair with a nice cup of coffee and journal and meditate. If I can start my day outside, with the birds chirping or whatever's going on, somehow it makes my day brighter. If it's a rainy day, it rains a lot in Seattle in the winter, I can at least open the door and hear the rain and feel the breeze. And so I'll sometimes sit in a chair in my room or in my bed and journal. That's the start of my day. Next would be exercise. Any form of exercise.
You love it. What's your favorite? What's your favorite kind?
Probably jogging. But I can't do as much anymore. But I love to jog. I love to kayak when I can in the summer.
Fun.
Super fun. So followed by a good talk on the phone with my mom who lives in California and I'm in Seattle. Or talking to one of my kids, followed by a long lunch with a friend, like no time constraint.
God,
right?
Can you imagine? Nothing.
No.
And how would you wrap your day up? How would it wind down?
At the end of the day it might be just a really, I'm a foodie, so a really good meal at home or out. Again, a dinner with somebody I love,
Yeah.
and then followed by a good show on TV,
Yeah.
an hour, a rom-com, something that grabs my attention,
Yeah.
like The Pit. I couldn't get over The Pit. I loved it. It was
really
intense. Oh,
that
yeah.
was yours.
I watched Bridgerton start to finish twice, when it was on. So,
love that.
yeah, a good 1 hour of something, because then I can just go to bed and everything's off my mind.
And then Lights Out is when?
Oh, my ideal lights out is 9:30 or 10. I
Girl.
love a good night of sleep.
You're speaking my language. You're speaking my language.
You're getting there.
Melinda, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.